What's going on? This is Marty Styles, and what we got here is Fight Night's Finest. Let's get ready to rumble! Fight Night's Finest. Let's step in the ring where the lights are blinded. I'm about to just knock you out. Now your mouthpiece, you cannot find it. You cannot face the weather. Warming up like May's weather. Super fast like Mayweather. You cannot put your face together. Cause my hands is lightning speed. I don't really think people wanna fight with me. You'll likely flee like Frazier from Foreman. Guaranteed tonight you'll bleed. Looking like I swiped your feet from under you. I'm like Tyson Beast. I punish you. I don't think that there's nothing your freaks are gonna do but sleep.
What is good, boxing fans and gamers? It's your boy, FightNightsFinest, the Sophie commentator. Yes, it's a live commentary. That means it's another edition of Live Fight Friday. We're in the Cowboy Stadium. Marvin Hagler going up against Sugar Ray Leonard. Good fight. I'm expecting it to be a good fight. And the main reason I'm doing another Live Fight Friday is because I just got a lot on my mind right now. You know, there's so much that I want to talk about, so much that I want to say, so much that I've been experiencing lately, and you know, I want to share it with you guys. Now, normally I wouldn't do Live Fight Friday as more of a topical kind of thing. I'll do Live Fight Friday more for explaining my decision making in the gameplay. But what I want to talk about today is decision making, and I thought this ought to be a good way to go ahead and show that. Now, opponent's record, this usually happens sometimes when I go for a Live Fight Friday. It's either somebody rage quit so they leave the match, or the guy's record isn't the best, but nevertheless, he can improve his record based on his decision making. And it's as simple as that. This game is all about picking your shots and choosing your punches and being in the right, placing yourself in the right spot at the right time. So that's all decision making. That's all something that you think about and then you execute it based on that. Sorry about the noise in the background. But let's talk about this. Now, I'll make a couple of decisions based on what it is that I see. I always choose to come out passive and see what it is that my opponent offers to me. The reason I make that is so that I can make an informed decision. I can make a good decision and adjust accordingly to what it is my opponent gives off and what it is that he shows me. So regardless to whether I win or I lose a match, I can always learn from my mistakes based on the decisions that I make. And sometimes when I fight, you know, I take a little mental notes to say, okay, you know, I'm getting hit every time I'm trying to jab, so I need to do something a little bit different. You know, I need to make a better choice. I need to adjust based on what it is that he's doing. So my decision making always comes from what it is that my opponent is doing in the ring. And I notice this part is basically the same thing in your life, is that you're gonna make mistakes based on the choices you make, but the mistakes that you make are supposed to help you make better informed decisions. And you got to get to that point where you realize that before it'll be too late for you to go ahead and fix some of the mistakes that you're making, and then you will never be set up to have a good life emotionally based on like the decisions you make. So if you made a lot of bad choices, and then, for example, financially, and then you end up broke and you're in debt, and then you're having a hard time finding ways to get out of that debt, you may never get out of debt just due to the choices that you made, regardless to all the spending habits that you were making there. And you never sat there and said to yourself, well, maybe I'm spending a little bit too much, or I should put some of this money away instead of worrying about having fun all the time or having something that I want. I can't let my wants always get in the way, because then when the time comes, I won't be able to have what it is that I want because, well, I don't have the money. And then there it is, that controller sign that Dave the Ritwin's always talking about. If you haven't checked that man's channel out, please go ahead and do so. YouTube.com/Dave the Ritwin. Link can be found in the description. So the choices that this guy made is to throw a lot of punches, not really pick his shots, but to throw multiple shots out there. And to me, this shows that he has a damn it. Sorry about that, y'all. This is live, so not a mistake I can go back and fix. But the choices that he made was to go out there and throw a lot of multiple shots, a lot of punches and bunches. You've seen the double jab come out for him a lot. We saw a lot of double uppercuts from him. He's moving his head. So in my opinion, he understands boxing. He understands exactly what it is that he needs to do in order to try to win this fight. Now for me, I'm feeling like since I'm doing this commentary, I need to go with something that takes a lot less concentration. And that's for me to be in orthodox stance, and Marvin Hagler is a switch puncher, so it doesn't matter which hand I really lead off with. He has strafe in both hands and he can fire from either direction, even though I do believe he tends to favor southpaw. So we end up hitting a beautiful combination, and somebody please teach this man some defense, because he just got his chin check by the right uppercut and ends up going down for the first time in this fight. Now that just goes to show you some of the strength that Hagler has in his punches, where he was only able to land a couple of shots and he went down from it. So that's the difference in this style, that with Hagler you need to be really aggressive, you need to land multiple shots to the head and a lot of power shots, possibly work the body and set up some late round KO. And for Leonard, you need to be on the outside, you need to be counter punching, and you need to be using your defense and then set up shot based off your opponent's offense. So I came all to this decision making by this choice has come from what I know, from watching boxing and just from seeing what he is that he's doing in the ring. It'd be really smart for me to try to take advantage of his passive play. Yes, he's throwing a lot of punches, but look, when I say he's passive in his movement. Notice how whenever I get close to him, and this is the mistake a lot of new players do, whenever I get close to him, look where he goes. He stands still instead of trying to get out of the corner. Sometimes it's not a bad idea to fight your way out of the corner, but right now, considering how he's taking so much damage, he needs to move away from the rope. So that'll be the right decision to make here. Not try to keep me out, but try to step back to the center of the ring and then worry about keeping me out, because you're taking a lot of unnecessary damage. So that's a tip for any of you new players, is never stand still. Always give yourself angles, always use lateral movement. Now, what is it that made me talk about this, you know? I noticed that people will rather sit in silence and boredom than step out of their comfort zone. The other day, I was actually going to register for school. I'm starting actually college in the fall. So I was going to register for school, and while I'm sitting in the auditorium waiting for registration to come back up, I noticed a lot of people sitting there with their hands on their head. Some people on their phones, phone batteries dying all over the place. Nobody's really having much to do. And I noticed a lot of people would rather sit there bored than to start a conversation with somebody else, just due to the fact that they don't know the response that they're gonna make. So you rather make the decision to be bored where everybody else is bored, and you rather sit there and not speak to somebody. That's something that always puzzles me. You can have a bunch of people, place them in a room with nothing to do, and you would think the thing to do would be to talk to somebody else and, you know, figure out what's going on in their head, or, you know, try to start some form of a conversation. And even that nowadays is just so hard to do, because you try to talk to somebody, it's like they feel so like, oh my God, somebody's talking to me. What should I do? It's like either what should I do, or should I continue on with what I'm doing, because, you know, I don't know this person. But how would you ever get to know somebody if you never give them a chance? I mean, you do that in school in order to make friends and to talk to other people. So why wouldn't you do it in just any other normal scenario? People just act like, yeah, it's one thing to be a stranger, but it's bad to not talk to somebody who's trying to have a conversation with you out of common courtesy. Now, I'm not going to be the one in my head what I wanted to do, and, you know, this was, in my opinion, it was a bad decision for me not to go ahead and ask people, you know, why is it that, you know, we're all sitting here bored and nobody really has anything to do, and we're all waiting for the same thing? Why isn't that we don't all just have like not like a huge discussion, but why is it that we don't maybe talk to the person next to us? Like, no, something like that. I wouldn't see anything wrong with that. If somebody personally came up to me and just started a random conversation with me, it could be about anything. You know, I would sit there and try to have a conversation with them. If you had the courage and the courtesy to come ask me something like how my day was, you know, I would not mind talking to that person. But I guess it's a bad choice, because we're all taught that it's, hey, you know, you don't know what strangers are going to do, and try to stick to yourself because people are this and people are that. Well, how are you any better if you portray that same thing that everybody else is doing? I honestly don't understand how anybody can sit there in silence like that. Me, I had a friend with me, so it wasn't like I was bored, but just seeing the way everybody else was just sitting there bored just made me really think about that. The decisions that we make are usually based on how we're brought up, but I don't think it's a good idea to always stick to everything that you're brought up on. Now, let's take a look at these scorecards. I'll go ahead and continue to talk about this in a few seconds, and I will appreciate if you guys leave your thoughts in the comment section. I think it was bad for me not to say this in the beginning. I'll probably put something up on the screen. This way, when you guys get to this point, it's like you maybe already left your comment about something that I said already. So pause the video if you haven't already, and just so you don't forget anything that I'm saying, or if you have something to say and don't want to lose it, just pause the video and drop a comment, and then continue to listen to the rest of this commentary. So, speaking of him, he's losing on the cards. It's 10. He's down 3 rounds to zip, and it's 29-26. The thing for him to do right now would be he has to make an adjustment, because what he's doing obviously isn't working. He's not really stopping me from coming on the inside, and he's taking a lot of unnecessary damage. So I'm feeling like, just due to his lackadaisical defense, if I just stay on him and keep him on the ropes, I should be able to get a knockout at some point in this fight. So I want to look for power shots now, just to help get that damage down a bit more, instead of always looking for the combination. And even that, with me with combination punches, it just feels so much easier to land shots than it is to land power shots. And it's crazy, because the thing that seems to be really easy to do in this game is to land power shots. So maybe I'm just a little bit different. I don't know. So there's another 3-piece combination. We end up coming across with the right hook and get cold clocked as we drop him for the 2nd time tonight. You know, we're moving pretty good. Everything's going well. Even in video games, man, people tend to do the same thing, where they kind of develop this bubble around them, like, oh, I want to talk to him, and that's why it's so hard just to find good people to play games with. So I basically got everything off my mind that I wanted to talk about in this commentary. Maybe I was a bit all over the place and a bit random. One thing I am trying to work on is organizing my thoughts better when I'm speaking them out, and placing my words a bit better. Not always saying and whatnot, and take pauses there. So let me know what you guys thought about this commentary, and let me know what you thought about what it is that I said in the commentary, like I asked earlier. If you haven't hit the like button, please do so for me. Check out those guys in the description. Check out my boy Dave the Rip One also. Anyhow, it's been your boy, Fight Night's Finest, the Sofa Commentator. No more. Peace.
I told you, brother, I'm the chronicle of our struggles, the voice of the families, like Moses, only keeping it real.